Reddit said that I tend to be too chatty. I think that you're probably right. What's up, guys? Welcome back. So today we are shopping my stash, and it's not just gonna be any random stash shopping ceremony. It's going to be all in the mauve family, mainly in honor of the fact that I have not found a reason to use this yet. This is the Colourpop Making Mauves palette. Isn't she adorable? I'll get into what made me choose this above all the other offerings from Colourpop and, you know, why you may or may not ever be interested in buying it, but I figured we'd give it a shot anyway, and I decided to just pull everything from my collection that fit in that category. And I mean, even just looking at this, mauve has a lot of definitions, doesn't it? I mean, we can Google it and find out, but to me, it's kind of in the pink to lavender category, tends to be cool toned, might venture into having a little bit of taupe behind it, or like a brown sort of like base note, and we're gonna kind of chase that feeling, although this is the blush that was part of that collection. There are two, and the other one was sold out when I bought mine. And she's decidedly pink, okay? This is catch my vibe. And so I'm going to try and probably balance this out with some other things in my collection, etc. I may or may not be a little less chatty today just because I can't breathe through my nose. My allergies are so crazy right now. So yeah, guys, let's have some fun today. Let's just kind of chit chat and hang out. Oh no, I'm gonna be editing out blowing my nose so much today. But yeah, I'm gonna play with a lot of my favorites here. We're gonna chit chat, hang out, and let's go ahead and jump in. And the hair goes back. That is it, that was it. Hope you liked it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my base here. I'm gonna start with the Bite Beauty Changemaker Skin Optimizing Primer, and then I'm going to go in with the Supercharged Micellar Foundation, and this is a Sigma 3D HD Max Kabuki. The reason that I'm using this is A, because it's an interesting shape, and B, it's clean. Gonna go in with a little bit of color corrector underneath my eyes, and then I will use the Hourglass Concealer to, you know, disguise all the discoloration that we've got going on here. In my experience, the Hourglass Concealer and the Bite Beauty Changemaker Foundation seem to have a similar level of silicones in them, and so they actually wear really cooperatively on the skin. And then I'm going to do my contour. My fave right now, since I'm pretty much out of the Salt New York contour, I've been using the Face Trace Contour Stick in Biscuit from Westman Atelier. Absolutely lovely. I feel okay using this much contour, mainly because this foundation is pretty light for me, and so I feel like when they blend together it makes a more natural look than like an uber contoured look. This is kind of a Wayne Goss trick to take a clean piece of tissue and just blot off what you feel like might be a little too much in the way of dewiness on your skin before you start putting powder on, so that A, you'll have less creasing, and B, your powder probably won't cake up. And then I'll set all that with powder, and we can just kind of zoom through this first part because I feel like it's really not that much different. So I went with as cool toned of a situation as I did, just because I do want to add warmth very selectively. This is a decidedly cool toned color palette, and so I am going to go with a little bit of bronzer, but I'm going to use the Arrive bronzer just because it is the most cool toned one that I feel like I have in my collection. Most bronzers are meant to bronze, and so they often will just be a little bit more warm because they're meant to look like a natural sun-kissed glow. And this one, I mean, even in the description on their website, they talk about how it is meant to be both a contour and a bronzer. I think that I did not powder well enough right there. Look at that, look at it catching. Cool, 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 cool. Use a little bit more of my bite here. Blur that. This is such a good blurring powder. You know what, actually, I'm gonna start with my eyes because I am going to wait for my eyes to decide how I want my cheeks to look instead of the other way around. This is just pretty darn pink, so let's go ahead and jump in with this guy because mainly I'm just really excited about it. So cool that they did not put a mirror in here. I love that. That makes this package very recyclable, very, very good. This is in plastic, kind of upsets me. I have a TerraCycle box. Moving on. Okay, I found my giant Wayne Goss brush that I always like to start all of my eyeshadow looks with. Now, I will say, this is a companion palette in the sense that it doesn't have any super, super bright shades in it, so I will probably have to refer to some other palettes in my collection in order to get like a white, for example. But we'll go ahead and start with R&R right here, which is a nice little cool toned beigey taupey shade. And that'll be our transition slash all over the lid shade. The way that I go about choosing eyeshadow palettes in general, but especially Colourpop palettes, because I feel like when you're scrolling the eyeshadow palette page on Colourpop, you tend to start to just see a blur of a lot of the same. You know, you're like, okay, so this one's kind of leaning a little bit more burgundy, and this one's leaning a little bit more brown instead of all lavender and like things like that. I tend to, and this might seem very obvious, but a lot of times we just kind of get swept up in the idea of a palette and end up pulling the trigger because it's like $12 or $14, you know? And then we get it in our hands and we're like, what was I planning on doing with this? I always actually like trace my imagined steps through a palette. And I'm like, okay, I see where all of these are gonna go. I see where these are gonna go. And of course we always know what we wanna do with glitters, you know? We just wanna put them everywhere. So yeah, this was the one out of like, Nude Mood, Blush Crush, all the other, I like you a lot and all that stuff. Like, those are the ones that I looked at and I was like, yep, this is the one that I feel like I can trace a good like treasure map through, I guess. And they're all pretty pale too, which makes it easier to use right from the pan onto my eyeballs. So, you know, I'm gonna go in with Big Fig right in the crease area here. I really, really like these color choices though. My goodness, that's pretty. So we're talking about the definition of mauve. I think that there is a mauve for everybody. And that's like not the case with all colors. I don't think there's a blue for everybody. I don't think there's a green for everybody. You can beg to differ, make your cases below. But I think that mauve is one of those shades that, you know, just because sometimes it leans cool doesn't mean that there isn't a kind of like redder based one that could match your skin better or something like that. And just because sometimes it's like a deeper brown doesn't mean you can't necessarily find one that favors a little bit less saturation and a little bit more lavender, that kind of thing. But I think mauve is one of those colorways that's unique in that sense where it is kind of bend to fit. It's a vague color, you know, we can kind of decide what we want mauve to be on any given day, right? I'm just playing in those two colors, getting a nice little blend going here. Colourpop does have lovely formulas, absolutely lovely eyeshadow formulas. I of course like their Super Shock shadows and things like that. I think that the main thing with Colourpop is to not treat it like fast fashion, even though they kind of self-identify as fast fashion for your eyeballs and for your visage. I think that we all kind of have to buy consciously, not necessarily buy conscious, but buy consciously. But like if you can't afford to spend $60, $70 on a palette and you know, Colourpop is what you can afford, it's a beautifully performing product, but that doesn't mean like order 9 of them, you know? Okay, so I really feel like I could just kind of keep making mud in here all day long. I'm going to go with a smaller brush. This is the Makeup Geek. I'm sure this is retired. This is the Define Crease brush, but I'm going to use it to go underneath my eyes. Same one. Oh, actually, no, this is the shade Big Mauves. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately and just kind of trying to take the temperature of some of my favorite creators and make sure everybody's hanging in there and doing okay. You know, I think that the biggest thing that this whole crisis is, like, it hinges on is people's, my hair stuck to my face, individual stories. I think that those are the things that are probably the most worth sharing. What a weird color. Tongue-tied. It is matte taupe lavender with tiny sparkles in it. What a neat color. I want to put that on the outside of my lid. That sounds awesome. I'm gonna go in with this big Sigma E55. Great for laying down a lot of pigment in one specific area. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of creators and I realized that, I mean, I gotta be really grateful because there are people who this is taking a really tough toll on as far as their mental health. Just the limitation of it. And I think that a lot of people are having trouble kind of being upbeat on camera when they're not feeling particularly upbeat in their own lives and things like that. And I somehow, I guess I'm just like a super introvert. I don't know what my superpower is where I'm just managing to like keep my head above water on all of this. But like at the same time, I would say that less stimulation means that I tend to have less motivation over the course of like weeks and weeks and weeks. And I get more and more tired. I sleep more and things like that. And I have found that that means that I have to, even when I don't want to necessarily, I push myself to sit down and make videos and come up with new ideas and everything, because every single time I upload, it changes my entire day, if not my entire week. I have found that this more than ever is my happy place, and it's truly saving me in this situation. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching and for like being part of this, and a lot of new people. There have been so many new people lately, like, hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you for hitting subscribe. That's so freaking cool, because like you guys are helping me out just as much as, I mean, you guys are thanking me for helping you out. Everybody's like, oh God, thank you for making like my life feel a little bit more normal by uploading content so much. I'm like, thank you for watching and giving me something to do, because this is keeping me sane. Okay. That was great and everything, but let's have some fun. Let's go into some of these glitters. We have Bicoastal a la mode and Mauve on top. I don't get that pun. Let's swiggity swatch these real quickie. Oh wow, that was pink. Okay, well, I know which one's my favorite. Mauve on top is absolutely my fave for this look, but Bicoastal is also really pretty. I'm honestly not a big fan of a la mode. It's just a little too pank, you know? P-A-N-K. I don't really feel like that would look as good, but I might end up doing what I do sometimes, where I feel like my, when I feel like my blush doesn't match my eyes that well, I'm putting a little bit of blush in my overall blended eye situation to make it look a little more at home. We shall see, but let's start with Mauve on top, because it is so pretty. I haven't done like a glitter eyelid in a while. This is like very Tati. I think of her when I think of going glitter all over the eyelid with the finger. Like that's just a big Tati move. And these foil really nicely. They do. It's beautiful. I like it a lot. Has a little bit of its own color presence. It's not just spreading kind of a wash of glitter. It has opacity. And I like really opaque foily glitter because it makes my eyelids look bigger. Would you chill out? That gives us some place to go. You know, now I can see where I'm headed with this, and we can go in with Marquee, which is this truly lovely, honestly, like cool toned brown purple. And I'm gonna go right out here with that and build some boundaries. Boundaries are important, guys. It's important to build healthy boundaries in your life. And we're going to use this shade to build some healthy boundaries today. Never claimed that I was gonna like stay on the rails sanity-wise, but at least I'm upbeat. Gonna dip back into a couple more blendy shades and see if we can just kind of ease that into the rest of my eyes. And I feel like I was correct in my assessment that this is a very, very easy palette to use on pale skin. And I know that that is not everyone's challenge. We all have different skin challenges. There are some of us who have those like gorgeous medium skin tones that's really hard to find, like isolate your undertone. And then there's people with really, really deep skin tones who have a hard time wearing anything like this because it's gonna pull really ashy. And then there are people like me who everything is too saturated for. Like every time I put something on my face, I'm just like, oh God, I might as well like, rub Sharpie on my eyes. So this is solving one of those problems, and that is giving me something that I can use directly from the pan. What do I have on my brush right now? Solitaire. And I'm going to use that up here. Kind of blend that into the rest of the gradient here. It's more of a caramel color. And I feel like that's going to give me a little bit more of the color of my sweater in my eye look, which is definitely not the object of the game. In all eye looks, you should not always be trying to match your eye look to your sweater or to your outfit, but maybe you're that person. I don't know. I like to be a color story, personally. So one big thing that's missing from this, of course, is light. And we haven't really gotten there yet because there isn't anything particularly like super light in here. I'm gonna go in with like a pencil brush if I can find one. Do you guys ever wish you had like the Harry Potter power, just being like, Accio, this, and then like it just comes? I think we've all wanted that. So anyway, found a pencil brush. This is the Sigma E30. What do I wanna do? I wanna go Big Fig out here, because I'm gonna try and make this giant smudge of eyeshadow look a little bit more intentional before I go in and clean it up. And then I'm gonna take a bushier brush, something fluffier, in a paler shade. Did I use Big Mauves already? I think Big Mauves and Big Fig. Keep getting them confused, but it's a lavender shade. It's not a lavender shade. I think it is a lavender shade. I just had a different color on my brush. So now it's lavender caramel. We just go with it. I think I've made a mess, but I think that pulling a little bit of light out of it is going to make a big difference. I'm gonna go back in with my big fat brush from Wayne Goss, like I always do. I'm gonna go in with my Hourglass powder because it does have a little bit more of its own pigmentation presence on the face, even though it is translucent. It does a really good job of brightening the under eye. Look at that, the difference, and sweeping away kind of, you know, not everything. It's not going to alleviate all of your sins, but it will just make things look a little bit more contained and a little bit more intentional, which is often what I need. Oh, look at the punch on that glitter, guys. That is some fun glitter if you're into glitter. Colourpop knows glitter. Okay, I still feel like we are lacking both brightness and depth. I didn't really get the depth I was looking for out of Marquee. I wonder if I can just stamp that with something a little bit more committed, kind of like that. I'll probably live to regret that, but you know, it's just makeup. All right, lightness. What am I gonna use for lightness? I need something for lightness. Let's consult rose quartz. Make it work, designers. Yes. This is the shade Heartstone from the rose quartz palette. The other palette that I would definitely always say that you can use these straight from the pan on pale skin. That is my favorite part about it, is that all of these shades, while saturated and while a great formula, you can use them directly from the pan instead of having to mix them down with something pale so that you don't look like you drew with marker all over your face or got into your mom's makeup as a kid or something. And then, like I always do, going in with the Supernova Crushed Diamond Highlighter. I mean, I guess I could try Bicoastal. It's still darn pink though. Like, I want to use that as like an inner corner highlight, but it's got too much pink pigment to it. I need something that's just glow, you know, just beige glow. It's kind of funny because when I was in art school as a painter, I'm not like the most gifted painter in the world. I wouldn't say that it's my strength, but color mixing was my least favorite part. I was just like so impatient with it. I would rather put two colors down on the canvas and like mix them together on the canvas, which is that's a terrible practice. That's like it's not a very practical way of doing it because then you can't color match it later. But that was always, I would much rather do that than, you know, put it on the palette and like mix a whole lot of the color that I wanted. And so I feel like that's how I am with makeup too. I'm like, I don't want to mix to get what I want. I want exactly what I want in one pan. Make it happen, you know? So maybe makeup was what I was supposed to be doing the whole time. Okay, digging this. Let's go in with blush and everything before we do eyeshadow, eyeliner, and brows and all that stuff, just because I always say this, but when you start putting liquid moussey things on your face and then you try to go back in with powder, you tend to end up kind of shooting yourself in the foot. All right, I'm just gonna try and have a little bit of clairvoyance here, and we're gonna start with my favorite of all things mauve. I'm not even sure you call this mauve, it's just lavender. This is the Heartbeat Cheek Color in Exhale from PYT, and it is one that is just truly, truly loved in my life. And I'm going to start with that because I feel like that's gonna give us a really good, close to my skin tone, cool tone lavender canvas that we can then apply pops of color to, instead of the other way around, which is putting that pank on my face and then trying to work my way back out of it. I do learn. It takes a long time, but I do tend to learn a little bit sometimes. I love this blush. This blush will fix anything. Ew. Ew, I'm liking that. So again, this is called Catch My Vibe. I did not expect to be in such a weird mood today. It's just kind of coming over me. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, I'm gonna go in with that. See how pigmented she is here. She's pretty pigmented. Yeah. I think that this is a lovely shade of blush, but I'm just not sure it belongs in this collection quite as I don't know, like naturally as I would have expected. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's just kind of a little, it's just kind of a little much. And that's me talking about blush. I'm just not sure that I like how much pink is happening there. So I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do. And I'm gonna take just a little bit of it on a, fluffier brush of some kind and put it up here because that's going to make everything look like I meant to. I mean, a little bit, I don't know. So the other kind of mauvey shades that I have this one right here in the Hourglass palette. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is Infinite Flourish. It's Infinite Flush, but it just sounds like a toilet that's broken. Oh, someone on Reddit said that I tend to be too chatty. I think that you're probably right. This is another great kind of lavendery mauve colorway. This is the Coquette Blush Duo from Jouer. I got this by accident for free when Sephora sent me the wrong order. I like it, it's good, but I think we have enough on my face at this point. And then also, I think that something that might help deepen everything that I haven't used on camera in a few videos is the Patrick Ta She's Seductive. Because it's got a really nice cool toned thing to it that almost is like a bronzer on me, but it does have a little bit of like pinky, rosy, mauvey depth. I don't know. Am I making any sense at all? I don't know. Where is she? Oh, I just don't know. We're going to have to go back in with Hourglass in order to kind of balance this back out because I can't find my Well People Bio Brightener. David? That's not what I'm using. I'm going back in with more blush. Shocking. Highlighter. So the most, I don't know, mauvey, lavendery highlighter that I have is actually First Christmas from Venix Organic. And you might think that putting a cream on top of powder like this is not going to work, but I invite you to try it anyway because it does. It works. I like it. Because once you get it down, it goes to a powder, and then you can take your finger and just kind of rub it a little bit, and it spreads out. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. I know what's missing. All the definition around my eyes. Let's do my brows, my eyeliner, and my mascara real quick. I'm gonna do the Thrive mascara. I'm probably just going to use some of that deep eyeshadow color, the Marquee shade, as my eyeliner on like a little pointy brush. And then I'm going to just do my brows like I always do with a pencil and then with some Boy Brow from Glossier. Okay, wow, look at this gorgeous, well-behaved brow and this just misfit. I don't know how she got through security. All right, my nose is running. Of course it is. I'm digging this. I think it looks really pretty. We're just going to finish it off with some lips. I don't know which way we're gonna go with this because I did go ahead and grab a couple of shades of the Bite lipsticks that I think would probably go pretty well with this, but it might take it really over the top in terms of like too much look, you know? And that's kind of what always happens to me when I do lip looks. I'm like, oh, those colors make perfect sense. And then I put them on my face. I'm like, I briefly forgot that I can't wear a lot of lip. It just doesn't look right. So let's start with my lip liner. I can wear this with a lip gloss if all else fails. I want to say my lip liner. If you're new here, this is the Thrive Cosmetics lip filler lip liner in khaki. They made this color specifically for me, but you can buy it too. A lot of people really, really like it. It's a great lip contour. I use it every day for everything. And that's why I use it every day, is because it was literally made specifically for me. So I'm sorry if you think that I'm shilling my own product all the time. It's because it was specifically made to my specifications. So. Plus it brings the caramel in from my sweater. I want to start, oh boy. I want to start with sugar cane, I think. I have amaretto and sugar cane here. Let's go ahead and swatch them just in case, I don't know, you're interested in seeing what they look like, regardless of whether I put them on my face. Oh, they smell so nice. Actually, I should start, okay, they're very, very different from one another. I should start with the Bite primer here. Do I have that? Where is it? It's right there. So this is sugarcane and this is amaretto. Obviously one is very pink and one is very, very browny orange. Are you rooting for one at home necessarily? I don't really know which way to go here. I'm gonna start with the primer. See what I think. This is the Bite Primer, and it makes everything, first of all, it plumps your lips a little bit, but also it just makes it a lot easier if you're not that great at putting on lip color. Okay. I feel like the pink one would be more at home here. When I put colors like this on, they just tend to go too orange. I don't know. Probably end up wiping them both off. Let's be real. Oh, that was my stomach. I'm hungry. Yeah, it's 12:09. It's lunchtime. That's not bad. That's not bad. But I do think that the primer helps it be so much more at home, and it almost mutes it a little bit. That stuff's wild. I talked about this in my favorites. This stuff's wild. This stuff is really, really interesting. I used it with this, which is the Lila B Elegant, tiniest letters in the world, lovingly lip tinted lip oil, and it made it go from something that I found to be very unwieldy in terms of formula to something that I felt very comfortable wearing. So I wonder how that would look on this. Yeah, it's very, very caramelly beige. Pretty. I don't really think that that's super noticeable, but it's pretty. I'm gonna leave it there. I like it. I'm gonna give this a little spritz with my Onami Radical Setting Mist, which is the greatest setting mist in the world for dewy skin. Oh, do you guys like my earrings? Hallie gave them to me for my birthday. I think they are just so me. They're from Nisolo. I tempted to take my hair down, but I know better than that. It's gonna be a big old kinky mess if I take it down right now. Okay, so this is the look. I like it very, very much. I think that it's very pretty. I like that you can mix these mauve tones with caramel tones, which are right inside my comfort zone, and actually it works really, really well. So it's almost kind of like warm meets cool, which is honestly what I think my skin wants to do most of the time anyway. So final thoughts on these items. I mean, the new ones to me. So the Making Mauves or Making Mauves, however you prefer, from Colourpop, man, I really like this. I think it has a couple of shortfalls. One is just that it doesn't have a really pale shade, and it doesn't even have like a really pale glitter shade. Like I had to go into other palettes for that. I don't think this is necessarily supposed to be like your be all end all, you know, all in one travel with it kind of palette, but I feel like there could have been something in there that was just like added a little more light. And I was kind of critical about this not really being that deep either, but I mean, it worked as an eyeliner. I think that it's really pretty, and on pale skin, somebody drink every time I say pale skin, this is actually really, really lovely, and it gave me what I was hoping for. I haven't tried the coconuts one, but I feel like that one is too, and I feel like this is like someone took a lot of the shades from the coconut palette and they just kind of turned it a little bit more towards like the blushy, cool toned, lavendery, rosy shades, and I'm here for it, guys. I'm here for it, and I was honestly a little nervous that they weren't even going to have this in stock by the time I got to reviewing it, but I looked on the website and it's there, so that's good. They're pretty good about restocking. I don't really think you need this blush. I'm pretty much in favor of any blush, but like, I just think that if what you're looking for is like this mauvey colorway, for whatever reason, this just doesn't feel like it belongs. I feel like I kind of had to work around it a little bit. And all the rest of those products, the Bite Change Maker, the powder, the brow, the lips, all that stuff, I would say you guys have already seen in action in most cases, and they're already things that are very much like favorites in my routine to begin with. But it was fun to shop my stash and like use some things that I hadn't really used in a little while. Mainly just trying to find a color theme that went all together, because this is not something that I typically, I don't know, maybe you guys are like, Khaki, that looks just like everything you do. I don't know, but I definitely think that like this eye look could have gone either way. In terms of like whether or not it looked at home on my face, and I think that we did a pretty good job pulling it together today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions about any of these products, let me know down below, whether they are new to me or old to me, or new to you or old to you. But I will link everything down below. I hope that you guys are holding it together. Hope you guys are finding a new sense of center. I hope that we all, as a society, kind of use this as an opportunity to find a new sense of center, because I would say that center is not anything that I would have used to describe our society prior to this, and I feel like, you know, this has the potential to unite us against a common threat and possibly help us reevaluate and reprioritize to the things that are truly important. So I'm sending you guys good vibes, unconditional love. I hope that you and yours are staying safe and healthy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Hit the notification bell. Because I upload whenever I feel like it, so definitely get those notifications so you don't miss anything. I love hanging out with you guys. I love getting the comments and like chatting with you guys and stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today, guys. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.